Good morning, students. Sai Ram. This is Ruchita Miss here. Hope everybody is fine. Yes. Welcome to your online teaching session. I'll be teaching history today. Now, before I start, I would like to ask you one question. What is history? Yes. History is the study of the events in the past. Now, when we are studying about the events in the past, from where do you get information about these events? Can anybody tell me? Yes, you get information from various sources. So, what are these sources that we are going to learn today in our first lesson in history, that is sources of history. Now, when we are learning about the sources of history, we are already aware that history is divided into 3 different periods. Yes? Okay. So, which are the 3 different periods into which history is divided? Everybody knows it. Yes? Okay. Yes. It is divided into ancient, medieval and modern. Now, last year, you all have studied about the ancient period of Indian history. This year, in 7th standard, we will be learning about the medieval period of Indian history. When we are learning about the medieval period of Indian history, we need to know which period is considered as the medieval period, right? So, you can see the period from 9th century CE till the end of 18th century CE is considered to be the medieval period of Indian history. So, which is the medieval period? The period from 9th century CE till the 18th century CE is considered to be the medieval period of Indian history. Now, when we are learning about the medieval period of Indian history, first thing we need to know, what does history give us? Does history give us anything? Yes. What it gives us? It gives us the scientific, chronological and systematic account of the events in the past. Now, when we talk of scientific, that means it tells you about the scientific importance of that particular event. Nextly, chronological, it tells you about the serial, about the happenings of the events in a chronological form. And thirdly, it gives you the systematic accounts of all the events that had occurred in the past. So, in this way, history provides us with all this kind of knowledge. Now, when we have learned about what history gives us, we also need to know the factors which are responsible or which are very much related from the historical point of view, which are very important from the historical point of view. Which are the factors? The first factor is individual. Now, we study in history about various kings, dynasties, rulers, etc. So, individual is one of the factor which is important from the historical point of view. Secondly, we learn about the social life during that period. So, that means we learn about the society during that particular period, the life of the people during that particular period. Yes? Thirdly, we learn about the time, means when the event has occurred. Okay? And last is the place. So, where that event or where that incident has taken place. So, these are the 4 factors we learn about in history, which are very much related from the historical point of view. Now, as I previously told you about the sources of history. So, can you tell me what do you mean by sources of history? Yes? course. We get information from various sources. or information in the form of what? In the form of evidences or proofs. So history is particularly based on the evidences, on the proof and the proofs, and these proofs need to be authentic, and these evidences and proofs are called as the sources of history. So what is sources of history? You can see that history must be based on authentic evidences or proofs, and these proofs are known as sources of history. Now, as we have seen about the sources of history, we know that again these sources are classified into various types. Now, which are the types of or what is the classification of sources? So it is divided into three categories. One, material source, second, written source, and third is oral source. Now, material source, it is itself telling you that the proof is available in a materialistic form. Now, what comes under materialistic form, that we'll be learning in detail further. Yes? So, but before that, we need to know something more. What? That is the factors which are related to historical events. Now, which are the factors which are related to historical events? For example, if you have any evidence or proof, so that particular evidence or proof, it should be very much supportive to the study of historical event. Yes. So, secondly, you need to verify whatever evidences or proofs that you have gathered or that is available. So, from where, which source? So, we need to verify that source of the historical events, of the proof that is available. Then, thirdly, you also need to see whether they are authentic, they are true. Yes, you need to make it very clear whether the sources are authentic. So, in this way, we have seen about these factors which are related to historical events. Apart from that, there is one more important factor related to the historical event. Now, which is that? The most important factor is to use these sources judiciously and only after critical analysis. Now, what do you mean by judiciously? Yes, of course, it is only after proper judgment of that particular proof, and secondly, after critical analysis, which means the subjective writing related to that historical event. So, this is one of the most important factors. Now, as we have learnt about the various factors which are related to historical events, now let's come further towards the material sources. As I told you that these material sources are available in materialistic form. Now, materialistic form means what? You can have it in the form of memorials, forts, copper plates, coins, inscriptions, cave sculptures and buildings. Yes, so in this way you can get the sources available. Now, after that, I will study about it in detail. Forts. Forts are available in a materialistic form in various types. Now, which are the different types of forts? Yes, you have hill forts, forest forts, sea forts and forts on the plain. Yes, so these are the various types of forts that are available. Then we have monuments. What comes under monuments? Yes, we have samadhis, graves, Veergala. And what comes then, the next source is the building. Now, what comes under buildings? It is the palaces, mansions and queen's quarters. Now, I told you about Veergala. What is Veergala? Veergala are the martyrs stones which were erected during the Yadavas and the Shilahara dynasties, and it was been erected in the memory of unsung soldiers. Yes, so we have seen about these three material sources, about the monuments, about the forts, buildings, etc. Now further, now this is, see on your screen you can see what is Veergala. Yes, now we have learnt about these sources in a materialistic form. How do they prove important for us? What is the importance of these material sources? The first importance, it provides with the insights or the happenings during that period. It tells you about the happenings during that period. Gives you the detailed knowledge about that particular event or that particular period. Secondly, it tells you about the development of architecture. Now, as we have seen about the monuments, the buildings, the forts, so it tells you about the architectural form or the construction of the buildings, the forts, the mansions during that time, how different it was in various dynasties. And it also tells you about the various development that has taken place in the architectural field. And thirdly, it tells you about the economic condition and also about the quality of art during that period. So how was the economic conditions, what was the financial background, and you can see quality of art. It is not only related to sculpture, it also comes in the form of paintings, then carvings. Yes, so it tells you about the various architectural form. And nextly, you can see on your screen picture of coins. Yes, so I hope everybody is aware of this picture. Yes, so you can see, you must have heard from your parents or your grandparents about the various types of coins. Yes, you must have heard about you can say kaudi, then you must have heard of rupee is very much known to everyone. Then you must have also heard about damdi, tehla, yes, paisa. So these are the various forms of coins which were prevalent during that time. Now you must have also heard about some idioms or proverbs related to coins. Can anybody guess any proverb or any idiom related to coin? It can be in Hindi as well as in Marathi. Yes, for example, I'll give you one. Ek phutki kaudi nahi dena. Now what do you mean by kaudi? It means, it tells you that the lowest bit of money. Yes, I'll not provide you with the lowest bit of money. And also in Hindi you must have a kahavat, proverb. What was that proverb? Can anybody guess? Yes, it is sola ana sach. Sola ane sach means what? 100%. Yes, so it tells you that it is 100% true. Yes, so this is how the coins were more prevalent. And during that period also you can see there were coins were made of various metals with gold, copper, silver. Yes, so in this way coins were in different forms. Now how can coin be a materialistic form in history? How do they narrate history? Yes, coins made by rulers are important sources of history. It tells you about the dynasties. It tells you about the ruler, his administration. It also tells you about his governing period during that time, and also about the personal details and religious ideas. It provides you knowledge about in detail about all these things of that particular period, historical period. So in this way, coins also prove to be one of the most important historical source of information. Then, apart from that, it also tells you, as it tells you about the dynasties, it tells you about the rulers, it tells you about the metals that were used, and apart from that, it tells you about the financial transactions. What is financial transactions? Yes, in the ancient period you must have learned about the barter system, wherein that time currency was not available, so goods were exchanged. But after the implementation of currencies, you will find that the financial transactions were done with the exchange of currency, with coins or rupees. Yes, so it tells you about the financial transaction. Then after that, even because of that, the economic condition also was improved. As you see that when it was a barter system, the exchange of goods was not accordingly equivalent, and so when the economic conditions when the currency was started, you could see that the share was equal, and equal share was given for equal work, and as a result the economic conditions had started improving. And the next is advancement of metallurgy. What do you mean by metallurgy? Can anybody tell me? Yes, it is a scientific study of metals, or you can say the use of metals. Yes, what is metallurgy? It is the scientific study of metals or the use of metals. So, and it had also been advanced further, as I told you before also, coins of various metals like gold, silver, copper were implemented. And it also tells you about the religious coordination. Now, how it tells you about the religious coordination with respect to coins? Can anybody tell me? As we have learned previously, I told you that it tells you about the ruler, his dynasties, his governance, his rule, everything. But how are coins showing the religious coordination? Now, you can see a picture of coins on the screen. So in the first picture, what is that? It is a coin of the Peshwa period. The first picture shows you it is a coin of the Peshwa period, and second is the coin during the rule of Hyder Ali. Now, when you see the coin on the during the Peshwa period, just go through it and just let me know. Just guess what it is telling you about. Yes. Yes. So you can see the inscription on the coin during the Peshwa period. So you can see that there is a inscription in the Persian or Arabic language. So it provides you the information about the languages that were prevalent during that time. Then you can see in the next, that is the coin of Hyder Ali, wherein you can see the picture of Ram Sita inscribed, and also it tells you about the religious coordination. Yes, so in this way coins, they tell you about the religious coordination during that period. Yes. Now let's further proceed. As I told you before, we were talking about inscription. What do you mean by inscription? Can anybody tell me? Yes? Yes. An inscription is a carving. Carving on what? Yes. It is a carving on a stone or a wall, etc. So, any carving work done on a stone or a wall is called as a inscription. You have, for example, the Brihadishwara temple in Tanjavur. Yes, as an example for inscription, you can see that there are various carvings being done on the stone and the wall in the temple. Yes. So what about, as we have seen, inscription? How is inscription important? What is its importance? First, it is an important and reliable source of history. So, as it is important and reliable source of history, how it is important? It helps us to understand the language, script and social life of people. Yes, during that period. So it tells you, as we have seen the prior picture, and wherein the coins were inscribed, wherein you could see that there was languages, the Persian or the Arabic languages that was used during the Peshwa period. So it tells you about the languages, the script and the social life of the people during that time. Nextly, copper plates. What is a copper plate? It is nothing but the inscriptions carved on the sheets of copper are known as copper plates. Now, these inscriptions which are carved on the copper plates, you can also, it is called as inscriptions which are done on the copper plates is called as copper plates. Then apart from that, you have also other things which are made available in the form of material, like you can see the chaityas, the viharas, minarets, weapons, places of worship. When we talk about places of worship, we have temples, gurudwaras, churches, mosques, then agyaris. Then we have decorative articles, clothes, musical instruments, utensils and village boundaries. All these are one of the examples of material sources. So students, today we have learned about the various material sources, and also we have learned about what is history. We have seen the different periods in which history is divided, and also the classification of sources. Then we have also learned about the factors which are related to history. Also we have learned about how various materialistic sources prove to be of great importance as a source. Yes, so we'll stop here for today, and we'll continue with the next two sources in the next class. Thank you.